first met John O. Thompson in 1974. Santa Cruz in the 1970s was a boisterous time. We had our first spring festival on Pacific Avenue. We saw dance and mime troupes, and macrame was in. Snail was playing everywhere. The Cooper House was about to be purchased by Max Walden. This is where John Thompson played his conga drums for the outdoor jazz band Warmth. I found John Thompson to be a surprisingly generous and encouraging artist. John purchased one of my first artworks. I was 18 years old. So, what's your name?
My name is John Thompson.
And, you've been around for a while, haven't you, John?
I've been in Santa Cruz on and off for over 50 years, so yeah, I've been around.
My name is Ed Penham, and I'm a friend of John Thompson's.
And you knew John Thompson?
Yeah, we went to junior high school together. Actually, we got to know each other pretty well because my dog Bucky fell in love with his dog. But anyway, John and I went to junior high school together, and I've got a...
Where? Which junior high?
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Bransford Junior High School. But anyway, this is a picture of me, the tall guy here.
I think I can close up.
Yeah.
Close up.
And then right next to me here is John Thompson. This is John. You can zoom in. Maybe you can zoom. I don't know, but
That's John?
yeah, John was 14. We were both 14.
Now, how did you first get into painting, into doing artwork?
Well, when I was in college, I started painting. I was in college with an agricultural scholarship, and but I always majored in art, theater, and PE. And
agricultural?
yes, I used to raise livestock and ride in rodeos and all of that kind of thing.
I don't believe it.
Oh yeah.
You were a cowboy?
Sure, for years. I used to work as a herdsman for different ranches in California for livestock shows.
He was a good kid. You know, he was an amazing dancer. Whenever we would have these sock hops in the gym, you know, we'd just dance around in our socks and listen to rock and roll because that was new, you know. Anyway, John would always get a crowd of people around him with his fancy moves and everything. Anyway, so he'd do these splits, and then he would do all these sort of different flamboyant moves and what have you, but he was quite the cat's meow there back in 1955.
But when I got into college, I started painting and was very successful immediately selling paintings, so that's what I wound up doing for a living. Until this year, and then I'm worrying about making a living this year from painting.
Yeah.
And we were both artists, you know, but it was interesting, you know, in those days I really didn't know him as an artist. I just more or less knew him as a friend and one of my, you know, classmates and so on.
Well, I mean, a lot of artists never make a living like me. I've never made a living in art. I'd make money sometimes, but I've never made a living. That's a different thing. That's like you have to hustle. So, well, when you first started painting, now where was this again?
Well, I started up in Chico when I was going to Chico State, but when I graduated from there, then I went to Mexico to get a Master's of Fine Arts degree from the Instituto Allende, the University of Guanajuato.
Right. Yeah.
And then I came back to get another graduate degree, and then I came back another time to get another Master's in Fine Arts. So with all that, I thought I would teach college, but it never happened, and I was actually making more money painting than I would have made teaching, so I stayed with the painting.
Well, with those paintings that you were selling, what kind, were they the similar kind of paintings that you do now?
Yeah, I don't think people do that much different in their whole life. I have more techniques and I have more vocabulary with paint than I did beginning, but those are things that accumulate and you use them in different paintings.
So, well, how did you go about selling them? I mean, a lot of artists don't make money. So
well, when I was married and had a child, I did teach for a couple of years, but I could see where that was not going anywhere, and I had no interest in it. So I loaded my Rambler station wagon with paintings and hit a couple of interior design firms, and they were very excited to show the stuff and to buy it. So I think I was originally selling paintings for $100 a piece that were 4 by 5 feet in size, and they would buy like 5 paintings at a time, and I developed that where I was selling to about 10 or 12 different interior design firms throughout California and Nevada, and became fairly successful with that. I never had made a lot of money, but I've always been able to take care of myself, and at that time my family too.
Wow. Well, that's smart. Well, how did you, I mean, did you just look them up in the telephone book or something?
Well, you know who were the big interior designers. It was Brunner's, Western Contract, and then there were names here in Santa Cruz, people that had showrooms, and my things worked pretty well with interior design concepts.
So, well, when you do your paintings, they are abstract, basically, right?
Yeah, they're basically abstract, non-objective compositions.
And would you say that they're conveying a mood, or do you use certain colors, or are you?
Well, yeah, I'll set up with a certain set of colors I'm going to use, and sometimes I throw in stuff that's out of that whole vocabulary and do something that's completely nutso as far as putting colors together. But obviously people want to buy certain colors for their homes, and I do that, and I don't have any qualms about painting that way.
So do they give you swatches of colors, and you kind of do paintings?
In some cases, yeah. Not so much. I don't work with designers that much these days, but I paint in Mexico most of the year, and I'm working with a specific gallery there, and it's pretty much free as to what I want to do. When you start shooting photographs or images of the paintings, you'll see a lot of reds and blacks and wild colored combinations that seem to work there.
That are in this gallery in Mexico.
Yeah, people down there are buying condominiums and putting these paintings in their homes, and they want to have something a lot more alive as far as color combinations.
Wow, well that's neat. Yeah, and how does the gallery work? Do they pay 50% or something?
Yeah, they take 50%, but the gallery in Vallarta, Puerto Vallarta, is called the Gallery Café des Artistes, and they feature my work and give me a whole room most of the year.
Wow. How did you find that gallery? Did you just walk in, or
Well, I've been showing in Puerto Vallarta for many years, and that's when I settled on, because I thought it was the best one. And they immediately took my work and have been featuring it ever since.
And so, but you don't live in Puerto Vallarta?
No, I live in a little village called Yalapa, south of Vallarta. You have to get there by boat. It's very primitive. I own a little gallery there and have a studio, and that's only open in season when I'm there. I'm in Mexico 6 or 7 months out of the year, and then back here in Santa Cruz for 5 or 6.
Wow. Well, when you take the paintings to this gallery in Puerto Vallarta, do you put them on a boat?
I have to take them on a boat, and I have to pay extra money for that, and it's a small panga, so it's a little crazy with the people that are riding the boat, and then me with my big paintings. It looks a little funny coming down the coast.
I know. I can imagine, people carrying cargo like bananas or iguanas, and then there's your paintings, and yeah. Well, it has to be a bigger boat, doesn't it?
No,
They have some tiny boats that
well, these are about 30 feet long.
Oh.
And they're passenger boats, but they're originally built for fishing.
So where's your house in Yalapa?
It sits at the mouth of the Tuito River, and it has about a half an acre of garden.
Wow.
That's garden from the jungle, and in rainy season it has 2 waterfalls, and then there's jungle in back of it and beach in front and the ocean.
So would you say that living in Yalapa and seeing all the jungle plants around you, would you say that influences your abstract art?
Yeah, but it's a subconscious thing. It's nothing I really play with. I'll sit down and do some tropical landscapes, but or florals that have a tropical feeling to them. But most of my work is pretty much non-objective collage.
Wow. Well, I mean, a lot of artists, if they did non-objective, they there's a stream of consciousness thing that happens. I mean, a lot of artists, they wouldn't know what to do. Like, they wouldn't even know where to begin.
Well, that's the thing. I just begin. I don't think about it. If I have to think about it, it's not going to work. And then I lay out some paint and then see what's happening. And if it's developing into a complete non-objective, I'll follow that. If it develops into a landscape, it'll do that. But to sit down and really try to paint something, I don't do.
Uh-huh. I see. Yeah, I see the difference there. Yeah, that's a good point. I remember you used to be at the Cooper House. Now, when did that start?
It started, I think, in 1972, and I was with Max Walden. He asked me to come in and put together a gallery for the community, which I had upstairs of the Cooper House, and then I wound up having my studio there and playing in the band and doing the security for the whole building. So I was in the Cooper House for about 18 years doing all kinds of things, but I never actually worked there for Max. I just exchanged the no.
You just sold paintings.
I painted and played music there. I was raised in West Oakland, and I played drums from an early age, and then I switched from playing traps to playing congas, and I've stayed with that for, I don't know, 35 years, I guess, or more.
Were you in a group?
Yeah, I played with Warmth here. I played with a number of groups up in Northern California, and used to play for jazz clubs and strip clubs and all kinds of things.
Wow. I didn't know that. I just always thought of you playing the congas, not the drums. But so you started out with the
Yeah, but I wasn't very good, so I flipped over to congas and spent time understanding a little bit about Latin rhythms and salsa and Latin jazz. Right now, I put the music together for the Hotel Lagunita in Yalapa, and basically run the gallery there for the community. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot like the Cooper House was, except this is a hotel that I think you've stayed at before.
Yes, I've stayed at the Hotel Lagunita. I loved it. I'll never forget taking a shower and reaching for the soap and seeing huge cockroaches behind the soap. They're like that big.
Yeah.
They're probably still there. You have to be careful. You can't leave food in your room. Or else.
No, it's pretty primitive there. The painting that's next to me here is a piece that I did when I owned a gallery in Huatulco, Oaxaca, which is down by Guatemala. Drug dealers had chased me out of out of Yalapa, so I went down to Bahia de Santa Cruz in Huatulco, Oaxaca, and put together a really beautiful gallery. Well, this is a painting that I did there, and I was having a problem with my back at the time, and I went to the doctor, and he told me I had a problem with my columna, which means my column was messed up from sleeping on a bad bed. So I named this painting Columna di Kahlo, which is a takeoff on Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
And you can see basically it's totally abstract, but it has a feeling of pain, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my God! I didn't know you were chased off by drug dealers.
Yes.
Did they have machetes or guns?
No.
Oh.
I came back in 2 years, and they were all married and had families, so it was fine.
That's wild. So you ran for your life and you started a gallery. Well, what was Guatemala like?
I don't know Guatemala that well, but I did enjoy a place called Antigua, a gorgeous city up in the mountains, and has a lot of cultural things that are happening there.
Now, you've been all over. I remember when you were was St. Croix, wasn't it?
I lived in the Caribbean on and off for about 6 or 7 years at different islands, and I was in prison in Haiti, and
You were in prison?
yeah, they thought I was a mercenary to kill baby Doc, which should have happened, but. And then I used to live on St. John in the American Virgins. I had a beautiful studio there and gallery, and Beckway in the Grenadines, and Morea in French Polynesia, and different places for many years.
And well, how long were you in jail?
Oh, just a couple of weeks, but they figured out that I wasn't what they thought I was, which was a mercenary.
Well, yeah, Haiti, that's a pretty volatile area. I mean, they kill people and stuff.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Wow. Have you ever been to Europe or lived
Yeah,
there?
I've been in. I had a show in Paris about 15 years ago, and painted there for a little while, but not a long time. And I've been over there twice.
Now, how did that come about? I mean, Paris, a lot of artists would love to have a show in Paris and be in a gallery. How did...
Well, I was showing in San Francisco, and a gallery owner came through that particular gallery and saw my work and invited me to come over and paint and then put together a show while I was there. So that's what I did.
How was that? Did you make...
Well, I didn't sell anything out of the show, so I guess it didn't work too well.
Oh, well. I mean, it looks good on your resume.
This is a new piece that's a collage using Japanese and a lot of white space and a lot of accidental textures. I use acrylics and oils mixed together, and the oils are very thin and they're floated onto wet acrylic and then hit with alcohol. So you get a lot of accidental effects you wouldn't get just trying to use a brush.
Did you show this in a gallery somewhere?
No, this is about 2 weeks old.
Oh, it's new. There's just a few dots of red. Cool. And what else do we have?
I got these over here.
Okay. What's going on with this one?
This is, I was selling a lot of red paintings and black paintings in Mexico, so I've done a couple of here. This is a collage that's red and black, and again, basically, it has a feeling of landscape, but it's pretty much a non-objective painting.
And this one has a lot of reds.
Yeah, this has silver leaf in it and oriental calligraphy. It's 4 feet by 4 feet.
It's interesting how it's almost like writhing things going on. It has and then there's almost like something behind it.
Well, there is collage behind it. Then here's another one that is a similar feeling, but in blacks instead. And for me, I sell a lot of black paintings because there's a lot of homes being done in Asian decoration, and they want something similar to that.
Yeah.
Or something that will
Those do
enhance
look
it.
like Asian colors. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this an Asian painting too?
Well, it has an Asian feeling. It's got Chinese newspaper in it, and brown paper bag, silver leaf, and then it's a combination of oils and acrylics, mostly acrylics. That's 3 by 5 feet.
It's neat. It really does have a kind of an Asian mist kind of feeling to it, with real stark black. And there's a lot of motion in it. Do you use kind of like almost a drip thing? Do you shake your brush?
I play with a lot of accidents. So I draw with bottles of paint, like squeeze bottles of paint. I use rubber rollers. I use a lot of things besides brushes. And I work flat so I can puddle things and create a lot of things that you wouldn't get with brush.
Okay, and then there's what's going on here?
This again is a collage, except it's the center part of it is very subtle, but with a lot of accidental effects with alcohol and floated paints. It's got Japanese in the background as a collage, and it actually has a feeling of some kind of book or scroll.
Yeah, it does. And then here's this other one. It looks like music.
This one has sheet music in it, and it's got a shadow going through it, but that's all right. And again, it's using the same technique, except in this case I'm using sheet music instead of Oriental calligraphy. This is about 4 feet by 4 feet also.
A square.
And these paintings in Mexico sell for about $3,500. I'm having problems selling them for that here in California. I don't know why, but people in Mexico seem to be spending money on paintings when people in California are not.
Huh. I don't get it. Oh, is that one yours?
No.
Oh, who did that one?
Guy from California.
Oh, okay. But this is yours.
Yeah.
So when did you do this one?
Well, I just reworked that painting because there was something that was not quite right with it, and it was probably done about 10 years ago, and then I was cleaning it up and decided I wanted to play around with it, so that stark yellow at the top is new. Something small.
Cool. So you like to collect work by other artists?
Yeah, most of the things that are in my house are pieces that I've collected over the years from different painters that I know. In fact, there's one of your pieces in here.
I know. A really old one.
I own about 6 or 7 of your pieces, but some of them are in Mexico and some of them are in storage.
So, now what is it? What drew you to Yulapa? How did you find out about Yulapa?
Well, I used to teach at the Instituto Allende in the 64, 65, and then I came back to California and went down there on a trip and was in Vallarta, Puerto Vallarta, and met somebody that I knew from here, and she invited me to come to Yulapa, and so I've been going there ever since.
What year was that?
In 73, so that makes it about 38, 39 years in and out of Yulapa.
Whoa, so you've seen families grow up and kids grow up?
The little kids there call me what the adults call me, and that's Juanito Bananas. And it was very funny. A couple of months ago, I had a little 2-year-old kid come up to me and go, Juanito Bananas.
Do you speak Spanish?
I speak Spanish very primitive form of Spanish. I do speak, but not as to where you would want me to do a speech or something.
Right, right. And how long have you been living here in this little cottage?
I came to live in this little cottage in 1970 and was going to be here 6 months, and I've been here 41 years. The rent went from $85 a month in
What year was that?
1970 to now it's $1,130, which most people in Santa Cruz think is a great rent, but
They do? My rent is, John?
no.
It's $128.
Wow.
But it's in a trailer.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's affordable.
I guess so. My rent in Mexico is $1,000 a year, so.
Oh, well, that's good. Wow, is it like is it palapa?
Yeah, now it's actually at some point you might want to take a photograph of that. I have a good photograph of it.
Yeah. I'd love to do a scene of your house and scenes of Yulapa and everything. And have you ever do you pick your own bananas?
No. But I have a lot of bananas in my garden.
Oh.
banana trees. I cut the flower before it blooms, and then it doesn't have bananas, but the tree lives. Otherwise, if you let the bananas grow, the tree will die after it gives the fruit.
And you see a lot of iguanas there?
Oh, of course, that's part of Yalapa's iguanas. In the old days, you used to be able to have one for dinner at the Hotel Lagunita, but now...
Eat an iguana?
Yes.
Oh my God. What does it taste like?
Iguana.
It doesn't taste like chicken or...
Well, it has a similar feeling, but
That's all.
it's different.
I remember the first time I went to Yalapa, you took me on a little trail and you showed me this little village boy that had captured a jungle cat, a jaguar.
No, it was a ocelot.
You remember that?
Yeah, and the guy that actually captured it was feeding it beans and rice, and
Did it die?
no, it got loose and got away. I was going to buy it and take it back to the jungle, but
It looked sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
But margays and ocelots and jaguars live in that particular area, but you don't see them that much.
Wow. I know. It's really trippy. Frogs, and I'll just never forget. I haven't been there for a long time, but just all the animals and creatures, it's really wonderful. Now, would you say that Yalapa is still a safe place to visit? Or do people get abducted?
No, it's comparatively safe
Uh-huh.
to a lot of places.
People are afraid to go to Mexico now.
Well, that's why the gallery closed up in Puerto Vallarta 2 months early, was that there's no tourists.
They're getting bad press from all the kidnappings, and, people are holding people ransom, and
All of those good things.